Hello, we are going to talk about the very last part of the project, which is the head, creating the head for the creature. And if you had a clear sense of the design in the beginning, you're just following that lead. So if you do want to change over and do change the head in your character midstream, it's okay. If you didn't like the original design, feel open to change up your original design or plan. I'm just going to stick to it for clarity. And I'm going to use that Larry Bird head. And now I'm going to create image planes that just focus only on the head. So I have these masks. Fortunately, I have this in layers. Maybe you do too. I know it's head. I put it on this blue layer, so maybe I can take off this other stuff. So there I have only the head design, which I'll bring in to my image planes just in a bit here. Okay. So I'll start with this image as the front head image and this as the side, and I probably won't use the back, but it's good for reference. So I'm going to crop in just this area and reposition them a little bit and prepare them a bit more for my new image planes. Here we go as a start, and I'll actually move this one over. You'll see what I'm doing in a second. I'm holding shift and we're going to move this one and we're going to drag it over so it doesn't shift up and down and put a little closer. Okay, then I'm going to recrop the whole thing, and I really want to concentrate on only this head layer. I'm just going to throw away all these layers. I won't need them, so I'm going to put them into the trash and only now focus here. Now what I will do, similar to when we're lining up the body parts for the fantasy body, I'm going to create another layer, put it at the top above these two, and this will be used, you probably guessed it, just for the lines, just to put plumb lines which connect important features of the face, so that when I get to image planes I can line them up better. So I'll create them in a standout color like red, and first I'm going to use the pupils, probably not make them too big or too small. I'm going to just go right here in the center of the pupil and make sure on the right layer. You don't want to draw on this layer. This is going to be used for your texture. You're going to draw on this top layer, and I'm going to just start with the pupil, and I draw a layer through it, and make sure that red line is going to go through the pupils of both characters. Okay, and on the same, you could do 3 plumb lines. If you have 3, probably the rest will fit in. You might have to tilt the head a little bit. Now, again, your head is going to be different. It doesn't have to be realistic like mine, but it should be challenging enough to give you enough features to sculpt. It could be cartoony. The idea is fantasy head. So it's likely not going to be very realistic, but this starts from a photographic reference. Yours can too, or it can diverge from that. Okay, so on your second plumb line, you could choose like the tip of the nose. And what I did to draw that straight is you click once and you hold shift. Holding shift with the brush makes you draw a perfectly straight line. If you don't want a brush, you could use a pencil to have a more crisp edge. You know, if you choose the right chisel or pencil brush or whatever, it's not going to matter that much. But here at the tip of the chin, just click first and then hold shift and then draw. See, it may be a little bit off there. It's up to you. If you want to have an easier time in mind to mix and match that up or mush that around to have it line up better, it's just going to be that much easier when you get them in the image planes. All right, that's where I want to be in terms of the lineup. And I'm going to now separate these into part 1 and 2 for the front and the side face. Just in case I need to come back to it, I'm going to just save it, just this file as a PSD, just of safekeeping. Okay, I'm going to save that. All right, now I'm going to take the crop tool and just crop the front. You can come rather close to the edges. Don't need any extra pixels really. And you have the checkerboard in the back showing that there's no pixels there. So that will look clear when you get in the image plane. Okay, so then you double click and that's your front view that you're going to model by in the image plane. So you're going to save that as your front view. So I created a folder called image planes, and I'm going to name this head front, and make sure it's okay that it has layers and all this. Make sure it says TIFF, because the image plane won't be able to read a PSD file, as you recall probably from your Other stuff you did? Okay, and here you go. Make sure it's a TIFF. It's okay that it has layers. Okay, now the easiest way is probably just to get the other one, just undo. On a Mac, Command Z, you might have to Option Command Z to go back a couple steps if it was more than one. Alright, it's just one step, so just easier to just undo, get back to the two head view, and then crop in here, and that will be saved as your side view, of course. So in that same image plane, I'm going to be putting head side TIFF and save. Okay, so that second one is saved. Let's go and open them in Maya now. So here I'm in Autodesk Maya 2019 version, and I'm going to put those image planes in, not the perspective view. You're going to put front to front, side to side. So in the front view, you have a little icon for an image plane here, right there, where you can go up here and put in an image plane. Same thing if you want to do in one step, just right here. You probably already know that, and just find your image plane. Okay, right here I have navigated to head front, TIFF. That's I'm going to grab and put in there. Okay. Well, we notice a little bit of a problem. This white area shouldn't be there, right? We had the checker box showing no pixels there in Photoshop. So why does this happen? It didn't happen on the last one. It could be something that was set differently in Photoshop, and that's actually what it was in this case. So if this does happen to you, you know you have checker in Photoshop. That is, you have this in here in the layers, and then you know it shouldn't be showing any white when you save the image plane. It has to do with how you save it. Last time this was automatically checked. It could have got unchecked, and here it is if this happens to you. So when you save this image, everything is done right so far, and there's actually nothing wrong I did. But all this setting, yes, layers, TIFF, and I say save. Yes, I'm going to, just for the sake of it, replace it. We'll have this one that says save transparency. Last time that was checked off, easy to miss. So make sure that is checked on. It gives you a warning. Maya can read transparency information, so say yes. Everything else is good. And you save that version with save transparency checked when you save, and it should come in fine. So let's delete that one. Let's bring it in again, of course, in the front plane, image plane button, and I'm going to go to my image planes. This one I saved with that transparency checked, so it comes in correctly now. And we can simply bring the other one in, and you see how that's unchecked. It needs to be checked to save transparency, clear the warning, and you're fine. Back into Maya, and oops, image plane. I'm going to go to the side view now. Should come in with the transparency. All right, and these are somewhat small, so I'm going to scale them up together and then line them up. I'm going to scale them about that big in relation to the grid, and then position them in the best way to begin modeling. About there, and favoring the middle where that cross is going. And this one, it really should be flipped to the other side, so of the back of the ear to this. Your configuration doesn't have to be exactly the same, but you should test it so your workspace is going to be correct, that you're going to be able to build in the center. So flipping that head around, in my view, was necessary, just like we did with the hand, and we had both photographs of the side of the hand. Make sure you have constructed your planes that will allow you space to work. And I'm going to put in perfect 90 rotation and rotate Y and position this. Then I'm going to use my red lines to best line that up. Make sure everything is copacetic with its alignment. So if you had lined that side by side like I did in Photoshop before you cut them apart to import them in Maya, you shouldn't really have to do any of this, right? Scaling, because they should just, if you scale them together, they should absolutely line up without messing with them. But this is just in case you didn't do it that way. and you at least have these red plumb lines to line up. And if I want further transparency, I could have in alpha gain, I can turn this down if I wanted your preference of transparent, or I could turn the colors. Remember we did that with the body and the hand, I believe. He already is kind of a weird color. It's probably not necessary. Maybe I could just reduce him to about 0.6 of transparency. This way it's going to be visually easier on the eyes to model. So maybe like 0.6. Okay. Okay, then probably a good idea to put these on a layer, the image planes on a layer. Just name them here, image planes, and save, and then hit this one, click it a couple times till it says R for reference, and then you won't be able to select it or nudge it, accidentally move it or anything. But do first make sure this center line is conveniently bisecting the head. So I'm going to, before I start furiously building this, I'm going to make sure this is in the center, at least in the front view. The best you can compromise what do you think the center line is. And yep, then make them reference layers so you can select it. Now, one last thing you can do before you start building is just a little quick test that you make sure you have the image planes in the best location. I just am at my shelf. That's the Create Polygon tool up here that I grabbed and put on my shelf. I'm just going to draw a polygon somewhere in the middle of the face. I'm in the front view. Okay, and then hit Y. Now it turns dark. You might remember, just select and mesh display reverse. Okay, so that, as you're working, should be popped right in front of the face, and it shouldn't be covered up by anything, and this is correct. That would be, you could start angling this and building the face like this, and that would be working in this space right here. So that is correct. Okay, I'm going to end it there for just setting up the image planes for the head project, because that's the foundation, let's say the blueprint for everything, and then we're going to start constructing pretty quickly. All right.